Imagine a world where your marketing emails and your transactional emails blend seamlessly, where your onboarding emails and your password reset emails all live in the same environment. That's what Loops does. Loops is a YC-backed startup that wants to redefine the way software companies send and handle emails. Today, I'm joined by Frantz, one of the co-founders of Loops, to talk about it. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey there. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, Chris, the first thing that I noticed when I prepared for this interview is your impressive marketing background. You're a seasoned marketer. You have a degree in marketing, 10 years plus of experience in content marketing, digital marketing, but you're also a serial founder. And Loops is actually not your first company, right? So tell me more about your journey from founder to marketer back to founder.
I've always liked to build things, to make things, and I don't have a traditional background in engineering. For the most part, I've been self-taught. What you learn in school around marketing is much different from the reality of the real marketing world. And I literally can't sleep at night sometimes unless I get up and make a thing or take another step forward in a direction of building something cool.
And if I'm not wrong, you started your career by founding an agency, a marketing agency called SnazziAI Media, right? How did you pivot from this to building something in tech?
That was just a freelance agency that I started for myself. It was great because it gave me the firsthand experience of sales. It got me over the confidence hump that exists with a lot of founders, especially a lot of technical founders, around reaching out to people and having enough self-confidence to say, yes, I can do what you need to do. I could do it well, and I could do it in X period of time. And then actually being able to follow through, have repeat customers, building all that stuff up is great. I think more founders should probably start from a service background. It helps you to communicate with customers, teaches you how to land high value customers. It teaches you how to ask for $10,000 a month for multiple people simultaneously. That kind of stuff is hard. You see indie hackers and early stage startup founders, afraid to charge more than $9, $19, $49 a month for their software. When in reality, you could usually charge more. You just need to find the right person with the right pain point.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned this because one of my questions actually was, what do you find were the biggest advantages and disadvantages of being a non-technical founder with a marketing background? You mentioned your ability to sell. That was really impactful and useful. What are other ones that were useful for you? And also, what were the roadblocks?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest one is becoming a technical founder. At this point, I'm pushing code every day and have been for a couple of years now, whether or not my co-founder likes it. I think the biggest roadblock is just the artificial ones that people put in front of themselves. Especially now, you can go and you can learn how to create a business mostly by doing. And that's probably what you should do. You should definitely talk to an accountant. Also, if there's one professional you should definitely speak to, it's an accountant every year. But beyond that, use something like Stripe Atlas, any of the million tools to build a product out. I think the biggest roadblock for people right now is they have a confidence issue. They think they need someone else to do things for you. When in reality, the best way to hire for a role is to learn how to do that role in its entirety. That way you're in a good position to hire someone because you understand the role really well. You can't hire your first growth marketer unless you understand how your company is growing. And the way to understand how your company is growing is by growing your company. So essentially, you need to do everything at first, get good at it enough to hire, and to know when you're hiring someone better than you.
That's so interesting. And do you think that you think about product differently than a technical founder because of that marketing experience?
The marketing background helps a lot. I think at this point, I could probably get a job as a pretty junior to mid-level engineer. Bridging that gap is really helpful because marketing asks for things from engineering, and they seem simple, right? You're like, hey, can I get a page that looks like this, that does this? And engineering's like, yeah, that's 3 months. And it's hard to comprehend that what you've asked for actually takes 3 months until you actually start doing it yourself. And you're like, oh yeah, I can see that take 3 months. So having experience with all of it really helps. And it's the same for sales, and it's the same for design. I do all the design, and we don't do any outbound sales, but I also do the inbound sales. You have to do everything because that's how you understand where the pain points are and how they can be improved.
Looking at Loops, looking at your website, everything you guys are doing, it's very obvious that the vision is pretty locked in. It feels very solid. And I have this feeling that you know exactly how to position this product. Do you feel like you have this clear vision and this clear position? And like, does it all flow naturally for you? Or are you like actually really good at pretending?
I have to assume some other people are like that too, but that's definitely it. Imposter syndrome, never been able to shake it. We are solving our own problems. We're building something that we hope people want, and has proven to be the case. But more importantly, for me, we're building something that I want. I didn't want to use MailChimp. I didn't want to use SendGrid, and I didn't want to use both of them simultaneously to do a similar job and maintain branding and consistency across all of those, and like have to teach the marketing team how to use SendGrid and have to teach the engineering team how to use MailChimp. Like, that sucks. I've been doing this for a decade, as you mentioned in the beginning. Like, it's too much. I'm done. I had to make a tool that solved it for at least me. And I've been fortunate enough that other people felt the same pain points. But ultimately, we're building this tool so that we don't have to use MailChimp and SendGrid. We're banking on a lot of other people feeling the same way.
Talking about the other email tools that you hate, the email space is pretty crowded, right? How are you approaching finding product market fit for Loops in there?
So crowded. Something you'll see that every startup founder goes through is folks will come up to you and they'll be like, "Hey, how does your product differ from X leading product or Y new product?" What we've noticed in the email space is there's over 560 listed companies on G2 just in the email marketing space. So I've long since given up trying to keep up with all 500 competitors' lists of features and how ours differ. It's a losing battle. So what I've started doing is being like, "Hey, if you have a pain point right now around your email sending platform, we could probably help, or it's probably worth a look. We're free to start." I love a free plan for that. We're free to start. There's no credit card required. Just take a look. If it's a good fit, fantastic. Like, use it and we'll help you onboard. If it's not, then you lose nothing but a couple minutes and you go on with your day. And a lot of our competitors don't have like a freemium plan, or they're exceptionally annoying to use. And I'd say 90% of the time people do agree.
As a fellow marketer, we're being told that we need to be remarkable, the purple cow. And you have led a few genius marketing campaigns for Loops already. And I wanted to dive into that a little bit more and go over some of those strategies and campaigns that I believe was super impactful and remarkable. So the first one, 2 years ago or so, you launched a limited edition Loop cereal box for swag instead of hats or mugs. I thought that was genius. Can you share a little bit more about this campaign, this strategy? What's the story behind this? And also, what was the impact of that campaign on your growth?
Well, as you mentioned at the beginning, I am a serial founder. But that was a good joke. I'm assuming there's just a lag here. Yeah. Okay.
No, unfortunately, it's not the lag. It did take me a second. I'm very ashamed, but yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. This was actually very cool. I felt like the reception outside of our customer base and some other small handful of users wasn't the best. But let me tell you how cool this cereal box was. We had it custom made with this excellent designer. She did these custom illustrations over the whole thing. We had it filled with actual cereal and sealed, but inside the box of cereal was a 3D printed, custom made decoder ring, like a little ring inside of it. If you cracked the code on this ring, it took you to a secret landing page. On that secret landing page, if you scrolled all the way down, you unlocked another box of swag. I don't know. I thought it was super cool. I really liked it. The people that got it and did it, they really loved it. And the way that we sold it is we actually started it selling the cereal boxes at $1 a piece. And then every time someone purchased one, we doubled the price. We only made like 50 boxes, but it was, like a couple $100s or something by the end, which was crazy to see. We were able to sell cereal for that price. But it was a lot of fun, and it definitely created like some memories for customers. We still get pictures of customers who are like, "Look, there's a box of cereal in the background." We want to do more things like that. But then once you start getting customers, right, which is the whole goal of this, once you start getting customers, you actually have to build the product and pay attention to those customers. And that's when, if you don't have a dedicated marketing team, it's harder to keep up with those marketing stunts. Because the best thing you can actually do for your product is, once you have momentum, is build your product and talk to users, not sell boxes of cereal.
Yeah, for sure. Another interesting marketing strategy that I've seen from you guys was the acquisition of Workspaces, of course. For those who don't know, Workspaces is a newsletter that showcases inspiring workspaces from creative people around the world. They also have a really cool Twitter account, and it was also created by an ex-Product Hunt. And so you acquired it with Loops to essentially distribute that newsletter with your products. Tell me more about this strategy.
Yeah, so this is something that a bunch of people told us not to do, which is a surefire way of getting me to do the exact opposite. um, but no, really. So Ryan runs Workspaces, continues to do so. The reason we purchased Workspaces was twofold. One, we're an email sending platform, but we weren't sending a lot of email. We just didn't have a user base to speak of. We had no one to email. So that has now changed, thankfully. But in the meantime, we were able to use Ryan's user base to test out the emails that we were sending. It was really helpful, like to structure it in an email and to understand what it would look like for a very popular platform. So there was that. There was also a little bit of the product like growth thing. So we put our logo in there. And then the third one is the audience. Like I said, we're not really focused on demographics, but the audience of people that build out really cool like office setups seem to have a high overlap with our user base. And the way we figured that out is because I ran a test. I actually ran a test on 5 or 6 different newsletters, a paid test. And I just looked at what drove the most amount of high intent engaged users. And Workspaces did by like a significant number. I figured I could continue to buy Workspaces placements for a year, or B, offer them a year of Workspaces placements as an acquisition. And they took that, which is great. And since then, we've gotten multiple years of ad space out of them. And Ryan's an awesome employee on top of it. So it's been a good fit. Again, a lot of people say that you shouldn't do it. And whatever the group consensus is that you shouldn't do something, you should very studiously look in the other direction and wonder if maybe that's a better path.
Yeah, I love this logic of like, as a software that handles emails, you acquired a newsletter about workspaces and people who want to make their work life better. It does make a ton of sense. And I think it's very creative and outside of the box to go for that. And I think that's where it's powerful. That's where it creates impact.
Yeah, it's effective. People tell us all the time they sign up from Workspaces. I mean, honestly, we could probably buy like a suite of newsletters. We're not really focused on that. We're definitely focused on like the more entire company experience. But it's an interesting strategy. I think it's probably a good one for maybe like a Series B company. You could probably start a good publishing arm of newsletters and do pretty well.
The third thing I wanted to mention with great marketing campaigns you guys have done was your latest launch on Product Hunt. We're seeing this movement grow in the space. I think the first time I heard this term was via Mark Liu, who actually won Maker of the Year at the Golden Kitty Awards. He called it building as a marketing strategy. It's essentially the idea of you have your core product at the center, the one that people pay for. Around it, you create and you build a bunch of free tools that solve a very specific issue. You make it free, and that essentially brings a lot of users, eyeballs, interest to what you're doing, and by extension to your core product, and down the line, more customers. And I have a feeling your most recent launch on Product Hunt was kind of in that vein. Can you also explain like what it was as a reminder for people who have missed it, and what was the idea behind it?
The most recent launch on Product Hunt was a product we did called Bounce Doctor. And this tool helps you with deliverability. Google was announcing some bulk sender guidelines. They announced that they would be running some changes that would impact the way the emails are delivered to your inbox if you send over 5,000 emails. Hotmail and Yahoo have announced similar plans. It's something that the industry is at large paying attention to. However, all of our competitors just were publishing blog posts. Like, it's not super helpful to publish a 4-page long blog post with a bunch of technical terms. So what we did instead is we built a tool where regardless of the email provider you're on, whether you're on Loops or somewhere else, you send us an email, we scan the email, we look for all the correct headers, and then we match them up against Google's current guidelines, and then we let you know how up to date you are. We launched it and moved on. We probably should do some more marketing around it, but it was great. We got thousands of responses. We had thousands of people testing it. We helped fix a lot of people's email setups, which was really cool. Like, even one of our venture capitalists sent it in as a test, and they were like, oh my God, like our email is messed up. And they fixed it, and now emails are getting to LPs. So totally free tool, but it does make you wonder, like, if I had spent the 3 weeks on product stuff, would that have a better net overall positive? It's hard to say, but I do think building free tools is at the very least a lot of fun, and hopefully also a decent way to drive some engagement.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I love that you used momentum, that you used this change in the Gmail settings.
Yeah, free tools, a lot of fun, really enjoy. It's hard not to spend all of my time wanting to build them and just focus on the core product. I think focus is probably one of the most understated superpowers that a founder can have, because all you have to do is kind of just not die. If you stay around long enough building a product that people like and you don't die, then you, by default, you win over most of the companies that are started in that time. So we constantly refer to this as like our decade company. This is the company we're doing for a minimum of 10 years. And we're going to be successful. We're going to do it. We're not going to die. Every day I tell myself, don't die.
I love this because it allows me to transition to SnazziAI. So SnazziAI was one of your many companies that you founded, and it was an AI copywriting tool, but it was actually acquired by Unbounce in May 2021. Everyone in marketing knows about Unbounce. It's like this massive tool to create landing pages. I've used it 1,000 times. Now that you're building loops, what are the learnings that you're taking with you from that successful exit? And then I was wondering if you're hoping for the same outcome with loops, aka an exit.
I can answer in reverse, regardless of whether or not we're offered an acquisition. We probably won't take it. We've had publicly traded companies reach out to us already, and it's a very quick conversation, which starts and ends with "thank you" and "no." Yeah, so Snazzy AI was the previous company my co-founder and I, same co-founder, started. We built it and we sold it to Unbounce. When you talk about copywriting AI companies, probably a couple come to mind, the ones that have continued to stick around and not die, right? It's the keys, don't die. But it also feels like kind of a trope. It feels like maybe it's been overdone. And that's because it has been, definitely. But it wasn't when we did it. We were very early. We were in the first batch of companies that got access to GPT-3. So the very first batch, along with Copy AI and Jasper. It was a great experience. It let me realize just how insane the volume is behind some of these AI companies. If you build an AI company, you don't have a million users sign up in the first 3 months, then you're probably building something that people don't want. Because I think most B2C or prosumer AI companies right now hit like 10 million users in 6 months. That's just like almost like a de facto number at this point. It's crazy. We're not focused on that at Loops. We're trying to build a long-term and durable business. And we power AI companies. So we just announced yesterday that Perplexity AI now sends email with Loops. So one of the fastest growing, largest, and most hyped companies in AI is using our platform, our boring old email sending platform. So it's nice to be able to still support some of the best out there and some of the most interesting companies.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, I think we forget so easily how different the world was in 2021 in the AI space.
It really was. Do you know that we were actually restricted from building chat back in the day? Like, you were not allowed to build a chatbot like ChatGPT is. It was not. It was against the terms of service. So people would always ask, like, why didn't you guys come up with ChatGPT? Why didn't you just do that? And the answer was, you were not allowed to.
Of course, yeah, they wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Loops is a YC-backed company, went to 2022. You shared a little while ago that you felt like you're finally building what YC backed you to build. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What did you mean?
When we applied for YC, we applied with a bunch of ideas. The one that I think the interviewers and us were the most excited about was Loops. And the one we had the best chance at building and succeeding at was definitely Loops. But the product that we pitched, the initial Figma designs, that's all we had. We just had designs in Figma. And even those were pretty awful. But the initial premise that we pitched, we still haven't built yet. I really want to build it. But it turns out that building things that people want tends to take precedence over building things that people haven't asked for. The thing that we want to build is something that I don't think any of our competitors have. As a result, people don't know to ask for it. As a result, there's no users asking us for this thing. So it's very hard to prioritize it over some of the other features that users are asking us for every day. So I'm hoping this year that we'll have enough product maturity and hopefully enough employees to actually be able to spend a little bit of time building the thing that we pitched to YC. I'm not going to share what it is because I don't succinctly even know how to pitch it yet. But anyways, if I could go back in time, I would probably not have pitched that. I probably would have done something easier. Sorry, it's very mysterious. It doesn't mean to be.
No.
I just haven't built it yet.
No, it's so good. Like, it gives us a reason to keep watching you guys. What's your build in public strategy?
I want to get better at it, but I if you only build stuff and share stuff about your product, then people do get a little burnt out. You kind of need to mix it up with just general industry things, learnings, funny quips. I don't know. I guess I'm like half memes, half company building at this point. I think that's like a pretty good fit. I try to like write things that resonate with folks, and then I also try to build a product that resonates with folks. I'm hoping there's very few people that have achieved this, but I'm hoping that my shit posting strategy eventually takes uh, backseat to my product strategy. So I'm hoping that at some point the amount of likes that I get on any given post are outpaced by my product versus the random startup meme that I post.
Based on your journey, everything we've talked about, your background, what advice would you give to another fellow marketer or any non-technical founder really looking to transition and take a leap into entrepreneurship?
If you are a marketer or a founder or an entrepreneur and you want to take your first leap, you should post on some social media platform where your users are with a demo of a product that you put together in less than a week. And then if you don't get initial traction, you should probably restructure the product, restructure the message, and try again. And if that doesn't work, then you should probably move on. That would be my recommendation at this point. Or if you're absolutely sure about the product and the market and you have high conviction, like that's what we did. If you have high conviction, then you just build and grind and raise and you keep going and going and going. And you don't let the fact that you're not the hypiest company or the most interesting company stop you. And that takes a very certain type of founder and a certain type of tenacity because you're going to get outstripped by your peers that are working on like hypey companies like AI and previously crypto and previously fintech. So I would definitely recommend to try and find an initial product market fit through a social post um, with a product that you put together quickly.
I love that. And then finally, makers, listen up. What are some marketing strategies or hacks that you believe every startup founder should know about?
You should be building some way of growing your product into your product. That will save you the most amount of time that you could possibly imagine and will pay dividends for pretty much forever. With loops, we include a logo at the bottom of our email. Users click the logo when they get sent it, and then they come and they build an email with loops. We see a lot of that. If you can find a way to capitalize on users sharing what they created in your platform, that's just the absolute best strategy that you can have. And it's going to save you a lot of time, especially if you're a technical founder. That is absolutely the move. If you don't want to talk to people, if you don't want to do traditional marketing, well, you should probably do both of those things anyways. But this is a really nice, easy way of growing your product while also building your company.
Yeah, that is gold. Thank you so much for this super insightful interview. What can we expect from Loops in the next few months? I know you've been a bit mysterious, but anything you want to share and that would get us excited?
Yeah, definitely. So we try to release things every couple weeks. We do product updates, a big batch every month, and we constantly put out new content and new things across all the different channels. So this week we're doing a customer launch week. So we're highlighting certain customers that have recently joined Loops and started sending. That's worked pretty well as like a little marketing stunt. I think more companies should probably try customer launch weeks. You should just type that into like X or Threads or LinkedIn if you want to see what that looks like. Really low touch, and so far it's been pretty high impact actually. We have some really cool new features coming. You should definitely check them out. If you're a SaaS company, you should be sending email with Loops.